Hello, and thank you for joining us as we bring you this live webinar event to update you on where we are right now with our student assignment plan and the review that is taking place right now. We're bringing this meeting to you, to our parents, our community members, our stakeholders. We want to make sure that you have access to all of the information. It's so important for us to stay connected with our community and to ensure that you know exactly where we are in this process right now. My name is Renee Murphy. I'm the Chief Communications Officer here for Jefferson County Public Schools, alongside our Superintendent, Dr. Marty Polio. Thank you for being here with us tonight. We appreciate it. Our Student Assignment Advisory Committee has been meeting to review our plan to come up with suggestions that we want to bring to you about ways that this assignment plan can look and how it could look in the future as we move forward. Now, this advisory group is made up of community members, parents, employees here at JCPS, and we will be sharing their ideas with you here throughout this program. Now, if you have any questions or if you want to provide feedback about our student assignment plan or about the things that you hear during our program, we ask you to go on to our Google form and to fill out that information to provide your questions, your feedback. The Google form is available on our homepage right now. It will also be available in the description on this video right after this live stream. It's also available on all of our social media platforms as well. Well, Dr. Polio, can you talk to us about the significance of having this type of student assignment review?
Sure, Renee, and thank you, and glad everyone was able to join us tonight and give us feedback. It's so important that we get community feedback on this process because we know that for the better part of 4 decades, we've had a student assignment plan that has changed throughout several times throughout those 4 decades, but we haven't had real substantial change. And we knew a couple years ago that it was time to really look at it and review and make tough decisions, particularly around 2 areas, one being choice for all students, and the other being access and ensuring students have access. And both of them come together to make sure that students have the ability to increase their student belonging through student assignment. Choose a school where they feel that they're going to be passionate about a program, something involved in a school. I'm a father that has now gone through student assignment 3 different times, elementary, middle, and high, and had 3 different experiences. But the most important aspect of that is making sure that I had the opportunity with my daughter to choose the right place for her. And so about 2 years ago, we developed this task force to really take a look into it. And now we're at the point where this task force has done that significant work to make some recommendations to our community and to the board. And right now, it's so important that we get that community feedback before we take anything official to the board, because this could be greater change to our student assignment plan than we've seen in decades. And at the bottom line right now, what we're looking for are to support students and to increase outcomes for student achievement. Student assignment is not the only thing that does that, but we think it's an important part of it, and we want to make sure we do that work to provide that choice and access to all families in our community. And that's why we need the community's feedback in this process before we bring anything to our board for official recommendations.
You mentioned the feedback. The great thing is, since we have posted our Google form already for the community to provide their feedback, we have gotten hundreds of responses already, so we appreciate everyone who has already responded, and keep the comments coming. We certainly want to hear from you. I'm a parent too, so you talk about going through student assignment. I have 3 kids within Jefferson County Public Schools, so I too have been through the process. So thank you for sharing how we got here, why this is so important, and why we need to hear from you. We also want to show you more about our student assignment plan, let you know where we were before, where we are right now, and where we'd like to go in the future. Diversity, choice, opportunities. What is Jefferson County Public Schools student assignment plan? You've heard discussions about it for years, but what does it stand for? Why does JCPS even have a choice plan? And why are we looking at possible changes to the plan now? That's why we're here, to answer your questions and take you on this journey with us as we review our plan to see how we can best serve the community. Since 1974, JCPS has been committed to providing a diverse learning environment for all students. This plan was initially developed to create racial diversity. Race, in some cases, was a deciding factor in determining where students were assigned to attend school. In 2007, the district's plan was challenged and arguments were heard before the U.S. Supreme Court. The High Court ruled that race of an individual student could not be the deciding factor in assignment. Since that time, several factors help to establish where a student attends classes. We use census information like educational attainment, average income, and the percent of minority students in a certain neighborhood to create racial diversity in our schools. While we are committed to providing these learning opportunities for families, we also want to review the plan to get your feedback. Every 5 to 7 years, we review the plan, and that's where we are right now. We've completed a community survey, assembled a community task force to bring recommendations forward, and we've had community listening sessions and forums just like this. Our committee has developed some ideas that we're ready to share with you. These ideas take a look at choice, access, diversity, ease of understanding, and most importantly, equity. Here are some of the potential proposals from our committee. Provide students in our satellite communities, mostly in the western part of our city, a choice to go to school closer to their home, or a family can choose to attend a school outside their neighborhood. If a student leaves their community, it's their choice. We're also reimagining our magnet options. The committee has made 4 recommendations to provide more access and equity across these schools and programs to ensure they are reflective of our district. The committee is recommending we eliminate school-initiated exits from magnet programs and magnet schools. Some of our magnet schools have a lottery system for enrollment. If your number is picked, you're in the school. The committee is proposing these lotteries be handled by the district for increased transparency for families. We've told you how much the district values diversity, especially in our magnet schools and programs. We want our magnet schools and programs to reflect our district population. Moving forward, there is an idea to set diversity targets for magnet schools and programs. This would mean a school would have a target to reach of students who may not be represented in their current population. Some of our most popular magnet programs and schools only have one criteria. You must be interested in attending the school and apply. Students are selected through a lottery system. Should new schools like this be created? Our committee says yes. And there is a discussion of replicating some of our most popular magnet schools and programs in various parts of the community. These are the ideas from our committee. Now we want to hear from you. What do you think? This is the time to let your voice be heard on this very important topic. And that is an overview of where we are right now with our review of student assignment. We are joined now by Barbara Dempsey, who is with our Student Assignment Office, and we keep talking about the feedback because we want to make sure that you are providing some insight on your thoughts about some of these ideas that you're going to hear more about right now. So we have the Google form set up right now on our homepage, on our district website. You'll also see the link in the description under this video as soon as our live stream is over. We also have the link available on our social media platforms, and this link will be open until mid-December, so you have plenty of time to respond, and you can share it with other community members who may not be watching us right now, and you can share this video also with the community at a later date. So Barbara, we do want to walk the community through these ideas right now, and these are ideas from our committee. This is what they're thinking about. These are some suggestions and ideas from them, and these are things that we want to get feedback on before we move forward. So the first one, we are talking about providing choice in our satellite communities for middle and high school students. So walk us through, what is a satellite community? How is the process set up right now?
Right. So if we could look at a map here, Renee, I'll show you. Our middle and high schools, most of our middle and high schools actually have 2 boundary areas that serve their students. So for most middle and high schools, there is a boundary that is close to the school in somewhat geographic proximity to the school. And there's another boundary in western Louisville. And for those students, if you look at this map we have up there, you can see the red on the map is the boundary around Pleasure Ridge Park High School. But if you look north of there, you'll see another small section in western Louisville. The students who live in that area also attend Pleasure Ridge Park High School. And so we have it there for red is the easy one to see for Pleasure Ridge Park. We see purple, that is Fairdale High School, again in southern Jefferson County, but they also have a boundary area in western Louisville. And then Jeffersontown High School, it's in the brown. And then if you see the brown section in western Louisville, then you can see that's the satellite area. And what our committee has talked about is offering students who live in that western part of Louisville a school that's close to home. Currently, there is not a school close to where they live that they can attend. So the idea that we've discussed is allowing students to attend a school that's closer to home or attending a school to the boundary in which they currently live. So, and parents would make that choice, Renee. It would no longer be a district decision. It would be a parent decision. And what we know is that this will require the district to build new schools because we currently don't have buildings in western Louisville that can serve the students who live close to there. So it really is a big change in the way that we've been doing things, this idea that we're considering.
And this would really give the parents a chance to say, I would like my child to stay closer to home, or I like the school that they are going to, or having another option to possibly leave the neighborhood. This would give the parents the option to make that decision on their own.
Correct. And we would figure out a system where parents could indicate their choice and that we would figure out where their child could go to school for them.
When we look at middle schools, do we have the infrastructure set up right now to have that option for middle school students?
So again, we would need new buildings to meet the needs of middle school students who live in those areas. The middle school map is very similar to the high school map, almost exactly the same. If parents are interested in seeing the map for the district, those are available on our website. So if you go on our website and you put in the search bar maps, you can see the student assignment boundaries to help you give a better idea of a particular neighborhood and the schools that serve that address.
Okay. One of the things that the committee has been taking a look at are our magnet schools and reimagining what could be ahead in the future for our magnet schools and our magnet programs. And one of the discussions has centered around eliminating school-initiated exits from magnet schools and programs. So we say school-initiated. What does that mean?
So currently our practice is that after working with the student for a year, the school can say at the end of the year, students who struggled academically or behaviorally, that perhaps they need to move on and they need to go to a different school. And so what our committee has discussed is actually, again, leaving that decision in the hands of parents so that parents can make a decision about whether or not this is a good fit, which parents can do right now, by the way. We have parents all the time that say, you know what, this is not the best place for my child, or I thought it would be different. So we do work with parents right now who've made decisions about leaving magnet schools. But the committee really thought this was a decision that is best left up to parents about what is best for their child rather than the school.
So if the parent made that decision to say this school may not be the right fit for my child, the parent would have that option. But we're talking about here the school initiative.
The school making that decision, correct.
Okay. Also, we're taking a look at a centralized lottery system and what that would look like possibly in the district. So how is the lottery system set up currently for our magnet programs and our magnet schools, and what could it look like from some of the ideas we've heard from our committee?
So right now, the lottery is partially run by central office and also partially managed by schools. And the confusion is that each school may handle it just a bit differently. So it's hard for parents to understand how one school does it. Is that the same or different than another school? So our recommendation or idea from the committee for us to consider is, should all those functions be handled by the district? And so that would be everything from creating the lottery list to notifying parents to managing the wait list. Just so that, one, there's a consistent process for every school, and also so that parents have enough information to make a decision. So that is one of the ideas the committee has brought forward.
We're talking about transparency, consistency, and having that across the board in the district.
For every school, it would be the same.
Okay. We're also talking about diversity targets with our magnet programs and our magnet schools. So what would a diversity target look like in one of these schools?
So, Renee, what we've discovered after doing some research is that some of our magnet schools are not as inclusive and are not as reflective of the district as they could be. So we are talking about working with schools and figuring out how we can have those magnet schools be more reflective of the district's entire school population and be more inclusive. So are there ways we can do that?
Okay, all right. And that also is just making sure we are reflective again
We
of
are
our
reflective
student
of the
population.
entire student population.
Okay. And something else that we've heard from our committee is taking a look at interest-only magnet schools and magnet programs. So we heard a little bit about that in the video, and the requirement or criteria would be to express interest and be able to apply in that program. So tell me about what that would be if we increased those opportunities.
I want to follow up on what Dr. Polio shared at the beginning, was that when students feel connected to a particular class or a particular program, when there's that connectedness and engagement, we do see a positive correlation with student learning. So are there opportunities for our students that we don't know about yet, that we need to figure out? Are there themes or programs that might be interesting to students? And that the only requirement is that you're interested. So we've got lots of ideas about that, but we want to know if the community thinks that's a good idea as well.
Okay. And then we're also taking a look at kind of along those same lines, replicating some of the more popular programs for our magnet
Right.
schools and our magnet options available.
And currently, we do have several programs that have more applicants than we could ever accept. And some of those that consistently have more applicants than we can serve with our current programs, for example, the visual and performing arts. At every level, elementary, middle school, high school, we have students who are so interested in that program, but we don't have specialized programs to serve them all. So is that something we want to replicate and have more opportunities and more access for students, have more students be passionate about why they're in school? And so that's one example. We have the traditional schools are very popular. We know that there's a great demand for our Spanish immersion programs.
Mm-hmm.
We have one at elementary. Are there opportunities to provide that at middle school and at high school? So there's lots of great opportunities that we could explore.
And having that choice, so
And having
increasing
that choice and engaging students, because that's what we're here for.
It's all about increasing that sense of belonging and having kids waking up in the morning and saying, I want to go to school because there's this program, I want to go to these
Yes.
classes, I can't miss those classes, I really want to be a part of that.
Correct.
And that is a great opportunity for our kids to have that sense
Mm-hmm.
of belonging. We've gone over a lot of information here, and you may have some questions and you want to provide some feedback. So this is the time to go ahead and do that. Again, you can post your feedback and information on our Google form that's available for you right now on our website. It's on our social media pages. It will also be available here underneath this video as soon as it posts after we finish our live stream here in the description there. So some people have already submitted questions, and here is the really great thing about technology
Right.
and about what we've been able to do so far is that so far we have some questions that have come in here this evening. We have some questions that have already come in. In fact, at last check, we had more than 200 responses to our Google form with feedback from you. So we know this is an important topic.
Right.
We've only had it up for about 24 hours, and we've already gotten 200 responses. That's great. We're capturing all that. We're going to review all of that information as we move forward. But we do want to touch on some of the questions that we have gotten in already and that we've gotten in this evening. So we talked about the satellite.
Right.
Again, talking about having that option in the western part of our community. Can you explain again for the folks who might just be joining us exactly what the satellite is and what does that mean?
Sure. So if we could go back to the map, please, we can see that for our middle and high schools, and this is our high school map on the screen you're going to see here, but it's very similar for our middle school students. Most high schools, and our maps are color-coded, so the school boundary is color-coded. For example, I talked about Jefferson High School. That's one that's easy to see. It's in the dark brown. It has an area near Jeffersontown and then an area in western Louisville. And so you can see that for Fairdale High School, which is in the purple. That's also easy to see, I think, on the screen. It has an area near Fairdale High School, but also in western Louisville. So the students who live in those boundaries that are not directly next to the building, not contiguous to the building, we call those our satellite areas. And so we've had the satellites for a number of years, and we are just considering, we've heard from families, they want to have more options close to home. So is this a way we can provide that opportunity for families?
Okay. What are the questions this is one that we have heard time and time again, so we can
Right.
kind of set the record straight here and let our community know the answer to this question. Are students assigned by race or by the first letter of their last name.
Okay, so I am dating myself here. When I was in high school, we did use a plan that was based on the race of a student and the first letter of their last name. We have not used that plan in many years. And as a matter of fact, since 2007, when we went to the Supreme Court, and that was in the video, they talked about that, we have not looked at the race of an individual student when making an assignment decision. Instead, we look at the characteristics of a neighborhood. So we look at our census information, and we look at average educational attainment, average income, and then the race, the percentage of minority students in that neighborhood or census block group. And so that's how we get our diversity in the schools, by looking at those 3 factors for every address in the county.
Okay, so we've set the record straight here. That practice has not happened in
Right.
many, many years. So that's not what takes place currently here in Jefferson County Public Schools. That was a good question. Here's another question that we've gotten in. So the ideas that we've talked about here in this program, would this impact students who are currently in the magnet programs or in our magnet schools?
What we know, Renee, is that parents are very happy where they are. If they've selected these magnet programs in schools, it's for a particular reason, and it works for their family. So what I would recommend is that we don't make changes to current students who are in the buildings, and that we figure out what the changes will look like going forward. But we don't have any interest in upsetting everyone where they are now.
Okay, all right, that was one of the questions we got. And so thank you to the people who have already submitted your questions and your feedback and your thoughts and your ideas. We appreciate it. As you can see, we have been going through them and keeping a tally. I can vouch for Barbara and Cassie. I was meeting with them earlier, and they were going through, and we're reading all those comments. A lot of thoughtful comments, too, from the community. Thank you for taking the time to provide that feedback. Some questions that we've gotten here this evening. So why do students in the satellite communities in middle and high school have to go to schools that are across town?
Right, and remember when Dr. Polio said we've had several iterations of the student assignment plan over the years. And we actually started using satellite areas probably more than 25 years ago, so that students didn't have to change schools every few years. In some of our previous plans, students may go to a school for a couple of years, and then the plan would require them to go to a different school, even if their home address had not changed. So the idea when that plan was developed was to provide continuity so that students could remain at a school for the entire time they were in that level.
Okay. Another question we have here, so we are talking about lottery systems. So there's a wait list sometimes for schools that have very popular programs. Lots of people want to get into them, and there's limited space. So what does the wait list look like, and how does that work, and how can parents understand where their child may be on the wait list?
So this year, Renee, we actually piloted a program for families who are wanting to know more about wait lists for elementary schools. And if a student was not selected for a program in April, my office mailed out letters to everyone and said, this is your wait list number. You know where you are on the list. And then every week, we posted an update. We're now serving number 7. So you knew if you were number 8, you had a pretty good chance of getting in. You knew if you were number 38, it was probably less likely an opportunity for your child. But you had enough information to make an informed decision. And we found that parents were very receptive to that. They really appreciated having some clear information that they could make other decisions on.
Okay. So this is a question that we have gotten in here. This is also a question that I have seen too on some of the responses on Google. So how would we decide what the new interest-only magnets would look like, and what kind of schools would they be? Where would they be in our community?
Right. So I think in terms of location, we haven't decided that yet. That'll have to take some work on that. But I think in terms of theme or programs offered, we already have some good ideas first from those magnet schools and programs that we have too many applicants for. So we know that's one place we'd want to start. The other place that we'd want to look is we have some great partnerships with our business partners who work with us on our academies of Louisville. And so we would look to them and say, what are the trends? What are the workforce needs in the future? How can we as a district support that? Where can we start getting kids information now so that they graduate prepared to be active workforce members? And then most importantly, I think, we'd want to survey parents and students. what is it you're interested in? What can we do to help you be connected to schools?
All right, you mentioned Academies of Louisville. If people are watching this and they say, well, what's Academies of Louisville? That's a program we have in many of our high schools where the business community has partnered with the school to create career pathways to show students great opportunities in engineering, in computer software, culinary arts. So those programs are in our schools right now. We're thankful for our business partners who have been a great partner in that work. So want to make sure if folks hadn't heard about that, they knew about our Academies of Louisville. And also want to say a big thank you to our committee members, our Student Assignment Advisory Committee members who have been meeting so often for many, many months now to come to this point. We have boiled down these ideas here into a few points here to bring it to you in a simple fashion, but they have been meeting for a long time to get to this point to figure out what could be best for our community, what could provide the most access and equity, and also how to make this easy to understand for our community members. That's one of the things that we have been talking about with our Student Advisory Committee is that ease of understanding. We want to make sure that you as parents and community members, stakeholders, understand what we are doing, understand what the district is doing, and these are some ideas that could potentially really bring some true equity and access and choice to many people in our community and many parents. That's the feedback that we've gotten. Many parents want that opportunity. So thank you so much. These ideas have been great to hear. I know our community is going to be providing some more feedback right now. We can't wait to hear from you again. The feedback option is available for you on our Google form, on our homepage, social media, right here on this YouTube page as well. And so we want to tell you too, this video, if you're watching this live, we thank you for joining us live and watching it live, but it will also be available. So if you have friends and family that had questions about this, you can share this link with them, and this program that was live will be recorded and captured on there as well. Also, there's that power of pause, right? So if you say, hey, wait a minute, I want to go back and hear more about one of our ideas, that will be an option for you, and that will be available for you as well. So we thank you for being a part of this. If you would like to talk to us in person, we understand that sometimes you have more questions that maybe we didn't answer right here and you want to actually talk to a person. We will be having an in-person, more traditional community forum and listening session coming up the second week of December. So we're going to be providing some more information to you about that opportunity to come and talk with us here in the next week or so. We'll have more details available to you. And the information that's on our website right now with our Google form, our feedback, that is going to be open until mid-December. So you have plenty of chances and opportunities to provide your insight and your thoughts about these ideas that Barbara Dempsey has shared with you from our Student Assignment Advisory Committee on their thoughts about what the student assignment plan could look like in the future. These are ideas right now. Nothing is final because we have to hear from you. And then coming up, we will be taking this information to the board here in the near future to also gain their feedback on this. So I hope this has been informative to you. I hope that you feel that you have more information now, a better understanding of where we are with this very important student assignment review. And we thank you for being a part of the program. Thanks for being a part of the process, and have a good night.